Welcome to our tutorial about DAW or Digital Audio Workstation software. In this tutorial, we'll be learning about the major music software packages available to you and what their advantages and disadvantages are. Software DAWs, or Digital Audio Workstations, are where you will arrange, edit, and mix the audio material you've recorded with your audio interface. Some of the best-known programs are Cakewalk, Cubase, and Pro Tools. First of all, there's no right choice when it comes to your music software. Choosing the right package is largely a matter of preference. The software itself doesn't make much difference to the quality of recorded audio or the mixed output. The best thing to do is try out some of the demos at the manufacturer's websites to see which interface you prefer and which is most intuitive to you. But having tried all these platforms, I do have some opinions, and let me share them with you. There's a perception among home studio musicians that Pro Tools is the real music software used by professionals, and to create a really good product, you need to use Pro Tools. This simply is not true. Of course, you probably know already that it's not the software, but your skill with it that makes you a pro. The main disadvantage with Pro Tools is that you have to use an audio interface that it's compatible with. The DigiDesign and M-Audio interfaces can be more expensive and inferior to some of the hardware made by less well-known companies. Let's say you buy a used DigiDesign at a good price, then maybe you're limited to 24 tracks for recording, which takes away a big advantage of the digital platform. That said, the Pro Tools software is robust. Some things are annoying to Windows users, like, for example, you can't deselect something by clicking elsewhere. Personally, I find Pro Tools M-Power to be more stable than Cubase products. They generally don't crash my system, whereas Cubase tends to have more system failures and sometimes at bad moments. Cubase 6 is a lot more stable than Cubase 5 and 4, however. While I'm pretty used to Cubase now, I find that Pro Tools is laid out more intuitively. Cubase has finally introduced an instrument track, which is a Pro Tools feature, but there's no way to send the output of that track to the same bus as an audio input, so you can't really use it to play back MIDI data with the rest of your tracks. But there are some things about the Cubase interface that are much more convenient. For example, the auto scroll button, the cut tool, and the zooming in and out using the ruler. Generally, even though I find the Pro Tools interface more intuitive, I can actually navigate through my work much faster in Cubase, which for me is really important. I prefer Cubase to Cakewalk, whose graphic interface for my tastes is too busy. However, Cakewalk is the only native 64-bit DAW on the market, which is supposed to bring you higher quality. It also has pretty cool advanced mastering plugins that don't come with Cubase or Pro Tools. But Cubase and Pro Tools now come in 64 bits, so maybe that's not an issue. I personally don't use the Sony Acid platforms, but I've heard great things about it, that they're intuitive and user-friendly. They also include professional CD burning software, good mastering plugins, and the ability to sync the video and the timeline. This concludes our overview of software.